Michigan fans, probably feeling a lot of emotions this morning. Now, you found a way in Wrigley to get it done. Was it technically a road game? But at the same time, I guess it was because it was in Chicago. Anyway, final score 24-22 over Northwestern. You hit a game-winning field goal at the buzzer. You're probably feeling a lot of emotions. We'll unpack those in a matter of moments. Before we do that, Michigan fans, one of two people in this room picked you to make the college football playoff. As of right now, it's looking like that game against Ohio State will be for a college football playoff ticket, Wolverines. So, if for no other reason than our very own producer, Caden Smith, you might know him as, had y'all in the CFP before the year even started, before we saw Bryce Underwood play a snap, make sure you're subscribed right here. So here's my thing. You did enough to lose, Michigan. You know that. I know that. Sharon Moore knows that. 5 turnovers and 1 for 3 on field goals. You did enough to lose. And before the year, I had Michigan at 9-3. The reason being, I thought there would be a game like this from Bryce Underwood where he has a gutter ball kind of game. Now, the gutter ball game from him where he's got, I'll say that third turnover, or that fifth turnover, I suppose, the fumble on the exchange. I'll go ahead and just say that was on him. So you want to call it 3 turnovers on Bryce Underwood plus the 2 picks. Freshman game aligned with the 1 for 3 on field goals. That's not usually a recipe for success. So going back to my thought, preseason, I'm like, there's going to be one game maybe where Bryce Underwood looks like a freshman, and that cost Michigan in a spot where it shouldn't cost them based on the opponent they're playing. That was this game. Now, I say all that, and that being this game, that being the spot where you see that from Bryce Underwood, and you still found a way to win. So you see where I'm going with this if you're a Michigan fan. As much as this game was ugly for the Wolverines and you didn't bring your best, I leave this game with a few things I'm excited about. All right, now I'm trying to stay level here. We're suppressing the emotional excitement behind Andrew Marsh going for $189. Now, Bryce Underwood, those 2 picks, they were bad, but he still went for 280 and had some throws where you're like, okay, that's looking less and less freshman-ish. That's looking more and more like a quarterback that's rounding into his second year as a starting quarterback. Now, I understand we're still here in the month of November. It still is his first year technically, but you're seeing some things where you say, okay, if we build upon that, this game against Maryland, and then have it a little bit more polished against Ohio State, who knows? All I'm saying is who knows, because Jordan Marshall gets hurt yesterday. It sounds like, at the time of us recording this on Sunday morning, he's going to be okay. Sharon Moore didn't sound all that concerned after the game about him. If you have him available, even with Justice Haynes not being available to you, with him going for 19 and $142 against Northwestern, all I'm saying is I think you position yourself, if you build upon those things where Marsh is a weapon for you, Donovan McCulley's a weapon for you, Bryce Underwood seeing it more clearly, ideally more than this game, but you see the arm talent, the throws he's making. It may not make sense before the game against Ohio State, but it didn't make sense before the game against Ohio State a year ago. In fact, I've picked against Michigan every single last 4 years against Ohio State. Been wrong 4 times. Like, more power to the Wolverines. Egg on my face. It is what it is. But all I'm saying is, as much as this game makes you feel bad about the Ohio State game, if you're a Wolverine fan with those turnovers and just the interception specifically from A1 Bryce Underwood, I'm just here to say there's a lot of things that when you look closely are cause for excitement. Because we keep going back to the passing game for Michigan, right? That's been the big discussion really since the Michigan game. The Michigan-Oklahoma game, rather, in week 2. And seeing the emergence of another weapon for the Wolverines here makes me feel like you now have the extra room for Bryce Underwood to grow within this offense. Because what I said after Oklahoma was Bryce Underwood is the future. He's just the first one there. And that was true. McCulley's been a good player for them all year long. But now you got this freshman Marsh running into form. Now defenses have to worry about Marsh and McCulley and Marshall getting in rhythm on the ground. And Bryce Underwood looking more comfortable. Ideally now, outside of those picks, I thought he looked pretty comfortable, which it's funny to say he looked comfortable, but also threw 2 picks. I think those that watch the game get where I'm going with this. This Michigan team, as much as that box score, as much as that final score is a little bit uncomfortable, I'm seeing some things in the positive sense that should they grow and evolve, it's going to be an interesting game against Ohio State. And also, you just sprinkle on this part of it too. Michigan, Ohio State, you kind of throw logic out the window to some respect. Now, I think Ohio State, if you play like you did against Northwestern, you're still not feeling great about your chances, but There's a couple of things to take away from this that make me just kind of raise an eyebrow and say, okay, don't love the showing, but I see it. I see it. So Michigan fans, let me know how you're feeling after this game. Let me know your thoughts on Bryce Underwood and maybe the positives that you're taking away. I think there's a few of those. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Cato on the ones and twos. Myself, Judy PicKell. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.